decimal? We said that was okay?
Yeah.
So distance equals 1/2 times time, is that true?
Yeah.
And then they explained, they typed out that they did 1 divided by 2 and got 1/2, so they did their distance divided by their time. Then what did they do? Is this true?
They made like a table.
They made a table, right? So it's 2 times 1/2, 1. So we're checking their math. Is 4 times 1/2, 2.
Yeah.
10 times 1/2, 5.
Yeah.
Everything looks good, right?
Yeah.
What do you think they got? Let's see what they put on the answer. 11 times 1/2 is 5.5
No.
seconds.
Oh, because they did 11.
Yeah,
They put 11 as the T instead of 5.
Oh, good catch. Does everybody see what they just said? So instead of replacing their distance, they replaced their time. So they made like a conceptual error. Would you say that's not computational, that's conceptual, right?
Yeah.
They made a conceptual error. They followed through with their conceptual error. They showed some partial understanding, right? They just made a little mistake. So they were still able to receive a point, which is why I'm telling you it's so important that you're showing your work. Because if you don't show that, on our last test, the last question was a table. And you had to use the table to find the unit rate. And then you had to then explain, you know, if it was proportional or not. And no, you had to use the table to write an equation and then solve for a certain distance or time. And some people made silly mistakes when they calculated in this problem, when they were calculating what the time would be, but they didn't show how they calculated it. So I couldn't give any partial credit because they just had a wrong answer. Some people did a transcription error. They copied the number down wrong. So I could see where their answer was coming from. I could give partial credit. So some of us really dislike showing all of our steps, but this is a perfect example. If you don't show you showed all your steps, we got partial credit, right? Because now we can see where your mistake is coming from. All right, are there any other ones left? One more? Okay, let's see. What do you think? Our time is equal to our distance divided by 2. True or false?
False.
Our time, so 2 is equal to 1 divided by 2. 4 is equal to 2 divided by 2. True or false?
False.
All right, so that's not true. Let's see if they followed through. So they replaced their distance with 11. Then they divided and they followed through with their mistake correctly.
They just needed to switch their table.
So
You're
similar
fine,
to the
you're fine,
last
you're
one. So
fine.
they made another, would you say this is computational or conceptual? What would be something considered like a computational mistake?
Like if they wrote 3 instead of 2.
Okay, yes, that's like transcription, like you copied down the wrong number. What else could be? Something that you did wrong in your computations, not necessarily
Or
conceptual.
like the 11 divided by 1/2 equals, 22 divided by 1/2 equals.
You made a computational error, right? Your computation was wrong. Oftentimes I see it with your integers when we do problems, but they're just made a conceptual error. So they received another point still, another point. But we can also think about this, 5.5 seconds make sense?
No.
Where would that fall in our table? Does
So
5.5 seconds make sense? It would
No,
be
that's
somewhere
not
over
accurate.
here. Would that make sense for 11? So that's something you can just think about. If you make that little mistake, does your answer make sense? Right? Go back, use all the information that they give you. This one had a lot of samples. Okay, 11 divided by 2 equals 5.5 times t. Well, 11 divided by 2 equals 5.5, okay, times the time. Well, let's see what they did. 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. What do you think they were thinking here? So they put their answer as 5.5 seconds, just like the problem before this. Same answer. They said 5.5 seconds. I don't want to give you the, oh, sorry, that was too hard. They still said 5.5 seconds in 11 feet. How were they able to get that from the equation that they wrote? First of all, is their equation correct?
No.
So we're gonna say for right there, we're gonna be deducting some points probably. And then did they go do anything further? Show any other work other than any explanations? So we don't know really where they got the 5.5 feet from. We just know that they got 5.5 seconds, 5.5 seconds in 11 feet. So even though I accidentally, okay, I'm gonna stop touching this now. They did get a 0 because they didn't have a sufficient amount of information to show